Hello and welcome back to What Sam Said. My name is Sam West and I'm thankful that you joined me this afternoon. The title of the day's message is I Think I Can, I Think I Can. We're going to focus on the importance of setting goals and then celebrating along the way. I was walking through one of the rooms upstairs, heading into another, and as I crossed over the hallway, I heard something from the television minister that he said that resonated with me. So I walked back into the room and I asked my wife, what did he say? Can you go back and rewind that and let me hear it again? I need to hear that. And with all of the things that were going on in my mind, the list I had of things to do, the other television that was playing, what he said at that particular time was revelation knowledge for me. I learned years ago from Senior Pastor Alan McNair that revelation knowledge is light in the moment of need. And as she replayed the session of the ministry that he was given, his terms were eyes that look are common, eyes that see are rare. Again, eyes that look are common, eyes that see are rare. And have you ever heard something 10 million times, but the time when you needed to hear it is the time that it resonated with you? And so I was like, wow, that's powerful. I need to write that down. That's why when you ask people to, for example, take notes for you, or you have to be careful when you ask, hey, what the pastor said in the service today, give me the highlights. You have to be careful because what may resonate with one person may not necessarily resonate with you. Things that were important that the instructor would have said in class for me may not necessarily be the same for you. So you have to be mindful of what tasks you ask people to do, because then you are digesting food that has already been chewed, trying to get all of the nourishment out of it. Now, of course, someone else's notes are better than no notes, but at least if I had mine, I could compare with what you said to see where there were some gaps in my understanding of learning that may have taken place. Have you ever listened to a message, a motivational broadcast, or read a chapter in a book, and when you went back, you heard something or read something that you didn't get the first time? And what I've come to realize is that where I was 6 months ago when I read the book the first time is not where I am now in this particular season. It's different, and the message kind of hits different, as someone would say. So I guess what I'm saying is don't take other people's word on matters that are important to you. Read the book for yourself. Take your own notes and trust your inner voice. Collaborating with others is fine, but depending upon them to be able to make decisions for your life is nothing that we should be cautious about. There will come a time of separation. We've all been there, from high school to college to corporate America, where the friendships that we enjoyed yesterday are not the friendships that are going to be able to take us to the level of elevation that we desire to go on. As you mature, you will realize you can't run towards a better version of you and stay the same. Again, you can't run toward a better version of you and stay the same. You can't run and stay. A decision has to be made. Earl Nightingale, in his book, The Strangest Secret, defines success as the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Again, the progressive realization of a worthy goal. Now, progressive is developing gradually in stages, moving from one step to another, successfully going from one step to the other. But they call it progressively, means that if I'm better today than I was yesterday, then in some folks' minds, then I am successful. A realization is the fulfillment or achievement of something that's desired or anticipated. Again, the fulfillment of something that's desired or anticipated. Now, worthy goal is something that you want to achieve. Again, Earl Nightingale's definition of success is the progressive realization of a worthy goal. So first you have to commit to it. Okay, this is something that I'm determined to do. After you commit to it, set some SMART goals, specific, measurable, attainable, relevant to the goal that you set, and then set some time steps along the way. Make sure that they're ones that will motivate you, and then write them down and refer to them during your process of trying to reach your goal. Next, plan the steps that you're required to take. Okay, I'm going to have to do this and this and this, and then cross them off as you achieve them. Then celebrate that small step along the way. Now, progressive realization. Now, based on what I've shared, one can assume that if I am improving toward my goal, then I am successful. You're in your third year of college, and someone would say, well, you're not really successful yet. You haven't achieved your goal because you haven't graduated. But if I had on my list of small goals along the way, get accepted, get a scholarship, complete my first year, complete my second year, complete my third year, and then the last small step that leads to the bigger step is to complete the last year and graduate, then each year you should applaud yourself and say, hey, attaboy, you did it because you did achieve something that was on your list. Now, you have to be mindful because growing up, we're told, well, until you graduate, you're not successful. Until you pay off your house, you're not successful. Until you pay off your car, you're not successful. And I don't necessarily hold true to that frame of thought today. Because, for example, if I'm renting an apartment and it's been 5 years and I finally get approved for a home and I move in, then I need to celebrate that step along the way. Now, I realize that the ultimate goal is paying the home off, but I think sometimes we cheat ourselves out of the satisfaction of a job well done. And unless you had set smaller goals along the way and took the time to celebrate those successes, you may become weary in well-doing. I talked to someone recently and they said, well, I've always lived my life where the worth that I place on me is based on other people's opinion of me, what the society say. And I was like, well, society says something on Monday, it'll be something different on Tuesday, that you're going to have to believe that greater is he that is within you. You're going to have to believe that as a man or woman thinks, I shall become. I said, it's your goal. You made the commitment to it. And let people know, because I am in the process of achieving my goal does not mean that I'm not moving in the right direction. It does not mean that I'm not successful. See, you are looking at where I am now. I choose to see me where I am headed. Again, don't allow the thoughts of someone who's looking at your present situation to make you feel that you've not have done something that is worthy to be celebrated along the way. Alvin Toffler said, you have to think about big things while you're doing the small things, so the small things go in the right direction. Again, you have to think about big things, the big idea, the big picture. So while you do the small things that are aligned to the big picture, you will be able to make sure that things are going in the right direction. He also said the illiterate of the 21st century will not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Again, the illiterate of the 21st century would not be those who cannot read and write, but those who cannot learn, unlearn, and relearn. Meaning you have to be flexible. He said that if you don't have a strategy, then you're part of someone else's strategy. What Sam said, surround yourself with people who celebrate you. If that worked yesterday and it does not work today, then reinvent who you are and keep pressing toward the mark. From my experiences, this is kind of where some of us become weary and lose our enthusiasm because we have the wrong voices in our ear. Don't allow the silence of others supporting and encouraging you to deafen the praise that you give yourself for what you have achieved. I recall a version of a song that I heard years ago, Changed, and it said, I've been changed. I'm not what I used to be, and I'm not what I am going to be, but I've been changed. See, it's the in-between you, that what you used to be and what you're going to be, that you have to encourage and clap for yourself, even if you have to do it alone. Recognize your growth and how far you've come. It is your continued growth that will lead to your success. I heard from someone the other day that if it wasn't for the struggle, I wouldn't have had the strength. Recently, I was facilitating a leadership session with a group of educators. We were talking about the importance of what you say to yourself matters, the importance of having mentors and the right people in our circle and having the right thought partners in which you discuss your ideas. We also talked about the importance of letting go of limiting beliefs, those things that may have been spoken over you earlier in your career that now have you bound in terms of being able to move forward. One of the leaders said, Mr. West, I realize that I've been gracefully broken during my path to leadership. Had it not been for me having to choose me, I would have never realized how strong I was. I had been living so long basing my worth on the opinion that others gave me that I forgot I had a voice and that my voice matters. She realized that she was being built while being broken. She gained an understanding of how important it is to set small goals and celebrate you when you accomplish one, even, again, as I said earlier, if you have to do it alone. If not, you'll find yourself struggling over and over again, trying to meet a false version of you based on someone else's expectations. What Sam said, you can only recognize and celebrate small steps along the way if you've identified them. How can you hit a target that you haven't set? How can you start a business without a business plan? How can you graduate without first applying to the institution? How can you head in a direction that you're constantly changing? Thomas Fuller said, "He that is everywhere is nowhere." I ran across this quote and thought it supports this message. "Would you tell me, please, which way I ought to go?" "From here," said Alice. "That depends a good deal on where you want to go," said the Cheshire Cat. "I don't much care where," said Alice. "Then it doesn't matter which way you go," said the Cheshire Cat. In closing, identify a worthy goal for your life. Decide where you want to go in advance. Commit to do what it takes in order to realize your goal. Make a list and begin with step 1. Celebrate the small wins along the way. Miles Monroe said it is the thinking of a person that allows him to see circumstances differently. You become what you think about, so choose the thoughts that you accept wisely. Be selective in who you spend your time with. You become a part of who you associate with. Brenda Mallory said, "The right lens will produce a perfect picture, so choose wisely the eyes through which you choose to see yourself." In other words, be careful who you allow to determine the you that you see. And finally, be careful what you speak. Every closed eye ain't sleep, according to Miss Nora Wayne. Again, thank you for joining us. Remember, you are enough. Decide what it is that you want, set your goal, and applaud yourself along the way. Thank you for joining.